it's the best way to get rich quick is get rich slow.
The best way to get rich quick is to get rich slow. Are you kidding me? Come on, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the video from Dave. I'm sure you guys know Dave Ramsey. He's the guy who's all about not using credit, not getting into debt. I understand that. I agree with not getting yourself into debt unless it's for a business purpose that you know you're gonna be creating a return on investment in, right? Using credit to grow a business, to invest in your business, to buy product, to buy real estate is definitely a good thing. You're building credit history, and in many cases, you're getting rewards points, and that's what we're gonna hear from this guy in the video who calls in and asks a question. He's basically asking if he should use his credit card. He's spending a good amount per month, and he's asking Dave, if this is a good idea. And Dave, pretty much, in my opinion, gives him some really terrible advice. So let's go ahead and play the video, and then we'll talk more about it.
Jason's in Houston, Texas. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I run a wholesale trading business, and so I have to spend around $40,000 to $50,000 per month on inventory. And so right now, I know how you feel about this, but right now I put it on a credit card, and basically it gives me around $2,000 a month in cash back. And so what I do is I just basically live off of the cash back, and then all of my business income, I just invest it. And so I was trying to see.
So before I let that keep going, the guy just said that he's getting $2,000 in cash back through his rewards on his credit card because he's spending $40,000 a month in his drop shipping, Amazon e-commerce business. So he's got a lot of orders coming in, and when those orders come in, he's using his credit card very wisely so that he can accumulate those rewards points and basically get $2,000 cash back every month out of thin air just by spending that $40,000 a month. That is great. We have tons of clients that are doing that exact thing here, and it's literally just a no-brainer, right? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Anyone in their right mind would do that. There's no risk involved. It's not like he's not even buying bulk inventory, right? Like, I have a lot of clients that are buying bulk inventory and then going out and having to sell it through Amazon. In this case, he's drop shipping, and he's got a lot of orders coming in every month, and all he's doing is he gets the order from a client, from a customer, and then he goes and he fulfills that order. He purchases the product with his credit card instead of just using the cash, from the business income, right? Why not do that? It's great. And he even says he's investing the cash flow from the business back into the business, and he's using that $2,000 in rewards to basically cover some of his expenses in his personal life. So let's play more of this and see what Dave's got to say.
Trying to see what the pitfalls of this are, I guess. Yeah.
Well, these kinds of plans only work if everything goes perfect. If your sales go down 4 months in a row, you're freaking bankrupt.
Right, but I'm only buying
$40,000 a month is only what you're buying.
Right. No, I'm buying based on what my customers order from me. So it's like they order first, and then I just drop ship the item to them.
Yeah.
So
then why are you having to borrow money?
I'm not doing it to borrow money. I'm mainly just doing it because it's saving me $2,000 a month right now. That's
okay. So they pay you. They pay you, and you can use their money to do the drop ship. You don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Good. Don't do it anymore. You're playing with snakes, son. You're gonna get bit.
Okay.
So now he's telling him, since you're just getting dropship orders and they're giving you the money, just don't use your credit anymore. Just let them just use their money to buy the product, right? Don't do it anymore. If you keep playing with snakes, you're going to get bit, son. Are you kidding me? The kid just told you he's literally got no real risk involved here because the order's already been placed. Now he's literally gonna tell him to stop getting that $2,000 in cash back every month, which is $24,000 a year, because he's using credit the way he should be, and he's being rewarded through rewards. Dave Ramsey says, don't do that, son. You keep playing with snakes, you're going to get bit. You know, that kind of stuff right there just makes me want to, come on, Dave. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Sounds like he's got a young guy on the phone. The guy's working the system perfectly fine. He's not putting himself in a bad spot. And just so that, I got to say, just so Dave can continue to push his brand of no debt, no credit cards, he's going to give bad advice out. And that's bad advice, guys. If you agree with me, like this video right now, comment on the video. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this, because if you ask me, this is absurd. This is completely absurd for him to be telling this kid that. You know, the kid can continue to grow his credit by doing what he's doing, and then he can get access to business credit, right? And now he can use business credit that won't even appear on his personal report, so his personal scores will stay nice and high as he fluctuates each month with the debt and with the $40,000 a month that he's putting on his credit cards. He could be putting that on business credit cards that don't even show up or count against his personal score, so his score will stay nice and high. And then he can start getting into actually creating his own brand and buying inventory and not just doing the drop ship. So if he's buying bulk inventory, he's getting a better deal so he can make a bigger profit margin. So he can make more money that way if he continues on this path. But if he listens to Dave, you know, he's gonna not be able to scale. He's not gonna be able to leverage capital to grow, to spend more, to invest more into his business. He's going to go really slowly on his, you know, business growth. And that's not at all that's not how bigger companies grow. Capital is number one. It's a huge priority when we're talking growing a business from, you know, $1 million to 5 or 10 million to 20 to 50 to 100. You need capital, right? And you need to leverage yourself. And sometimes that means having debt for a period of time until the return comes in to pay off the debt. So let's play more.
No millionaire ever said, I made all my money with cash back on credit cards. You're screwing around with rattlesnakes and like it's a sport. Your risk meter's broken.
Or here's a better way to think, Jason. What are they getting from you? No company just gives money away for fun. So why are they giving you $2,000 every month? What are they getting from you?
Right.
We get this a lot. We hear this one all the time on webinars, with sales calls. New clients are like, you know, why would the bank lend me funding at 0% interest? You know, what are they going to get? What's the point? Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense. It sounds too good to be true. And it's almost like these guys like have never heard of, you know, how credit card companies work. Obviously, they want his business because he's using the credit. He's spending $40,000 a month, and that's how they make money, right? He's using the credit to the fullest. He's paying it down aggressively, which is exactly what the banks want. They don't want someone who's going to get $40,000 in debt and not pay it back. So this guy's using credit wisely, and they're getting his business, right? That's their whole entire business, is lending money to make money. And they're hoping that at some point they're going to make money on interest. And they might make a little bit of money on interest. That's fine, but you know, you're not going to put yourself into a bad situation, especially if you're a business owner and entrepreneur. The idea here isn't to use the credit to get yourself into bad debt, right? You're not just spending the money on liabilities. He's spending the money on things that are producing cash flow, right? When you're spending money on assets, when you're investing into real estate or Amazon business, inventory, whatever it is, you're spending that money wisely because it's going to bring a return back and you're going to pay that debt off, right? In this case, the guy's drop shipping, so he's not even having to buy product up front. He's just having to fulfill orders, basically. He's not having to buy inventory, right? So in this case, what the credit card companies are getting is a great customer out of this guy, and because of their rewards program, they're paying him $2,000 a month to use their credit cards, right? So what are they getting out of it? Well, in this case, they're getting a customer who's returning, who they might make a little bit of interest on, but the dude on the other end, this guy who's on the phone, he's making $2,000 a month, and he's growing his business thanks to credit cards. He might not have been able to do that to the level that he's doing it without the credit cards, right? A lot of people know in Amazon, a lot of times they take 2 weeks. There's a 2 weeks delay to get you guys fulfilled after you've sold product. right? So that could have something to do with it as well. He might need the credit so that he can buy the product and not have to wait to get reimbursed from Amazon 2 weeks later. That is how it works with Amazon. So let's hear what else they have to say.
I guess that's my information that they get.
But they're also getting a long-term play with you.
They have their hooks in you, dude, because you've normalized this in your spirit and in your process. Listen, here's the thing. Here's another example, okay? I used to, how old are you? 25?
19.
19, okay. When I was 22 years old, I started buying real estate with nothing down. And the rent I brought in was on each property was more than the payment. But I was in debt up to my eyeballs on the properties, and I did not perceive that as risk because the cash was flowing. Does that make sense? And here's what I do. That's called nothing down real estate. You buy real estate with nothing down. The bank finances 100% of it because you got a deal on it, and it's the same kind of line of thinking that you're using. And here's what I learned. 10 years later,
I gotta say, it's really not the same line of thinking that he's using. What he just referenced was buying real estate with no money down. He's talking about using financing and then having a tenant in the property who's paying the rent, right? And then in the event where the market crashes or the tenant stops paying the rent, now you have to pay that mortgage or that loan off. And that's really not the same situation at all. He's just trying to he's grasping for straws pretty much to bring up any situation he can to try to discredit the way this guy's going about using his credit cards. Because that's all, in my opinion, Dave, really all he cares about is bashing credit card usage, bashing being in debt and all that. But the example he brings up is totally different and not really relevant. It's apples and oranges. And what Dave did say about real estate when he's buying houses that way, yeah, that is risky. That's different. Right? But what this guy's doing is totally different and completely low risk. So more power to you, dude. Keep getting that $2,000 a month in cashback rewards. Let's see what else they've got to say.
I
might even skip past this real estate part.
That were 40 years old, 50 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old that were doing nothing down real estate. A decade later, let me tell you how many of them were not, how many of them were still doing real estate? Zero. We were all out of business because we were playing with snakes and we got bit. So here's a plan. You're obviously you obviously have a good business mind. Your risk meter is not functioning well. You are not perceiving the risk that you are taking. That's what I'm saying. And I didn't either. It is the beauty of youth, however. This is the same. I'm the same idiot that used to go over.
I got to say, there's no risk. The guy's getting orders fulfilled by using his credit card. The order's placed. All he's got to do is now use his credit card to purchase the product and have it shipped out to the person who already bought it. And that's that. He's not on the hook. He doesn't owe anything because of that. He already has the money from the customer. And then he goes and uses his credit card, and then he pays his credit card off with the money he got from the order. So there's no risk.
Over a piece of plywood on a bicycle that was propped up by 6 bricks and with no bike helmet, and then wonder why you get all your teeth knocked out of your head. I'm the same guy. The beauty of youth is you do not perceive risk. And it just looked like fun.
Yes.
And it looked like, how could this go wrong?
It can only be more awesome.
It could only be better.
More bricks.
If we get 2,000 back, let's twice as much. We'll get 4,000 back.
Well, so here's what I did.
So stop doing this, man. Go back to simple old people way of thinking and pay for your business as it goes, and then your business will survive up and down, and you will not get caught with the last man holding the beans and get your dadgum.
Did you guys hear what he just said? Do business with the old people way of thinking, right? Basically, he's saying, don't make more money. Don't let that money come into your bank account, and do it the slow and old people way of doing it, which is basically pay for it as you go, right? Don't use credit. Don't use loans. Don't do what all the bigger businesses are doing to grow and become, ultra wealthy. He's saying do it with the old people way of thinking. Basically, just work a 9 to 5 and move things very slowly along, and that's that, right? What good is that? That's not how it works. That's not how you scale a business, right? That's not how you do multiple deals at once. Like if you're in the real estate game and you want to do multiple deals at once, a lot of us, most of us, can't just do it out of pocket, out of the cash in your bank account. We need loans. We need hard money loans, business credit lines, private money, right? That's the only way we can get more things done and get to that place of financial freedom more quickly. Otherwise, we'll be plugging away for the rest of our lives trying to get to $1 million in our bank accounts. But if we've got the ability to do multiple deals at once or have multiple transactions going on at once in Amazon, buying bulk inventory, doing drop shipping, getting $2,000 back a month in cash back that you can now invest back into the business and grow even more quickly, why wouldn't you do that, right? The point he brings up here, use the old people way of thinking, just be really safe and don't use credit. I literally was under that way of thinking when I was younger. I wasn't using credit. I was thinking credit cards are bad. I shouldn't use credit. It's gonna come back to bite me. Almost like exactly what he's saying. He's been around for a while, and I'm sure he's probably rubbed off on my parents. And I had that same type of mindset, like, oh, I shouldn't use credit. It's gonna put me in a bad position. I'm gonna be in a bunch of debt. And then what am I gonna do? Then I'm gonna have bad credit. I'm gonna owe all this money. It happened to a lot of our parents. But that's totally different from what we're talking about here. We're not talking about struggling, barely making enough money to make ends meet, and then using credit cards and getting into a bunch of debt that you can't get out of. That's not what we're talking about. That's not a good idea, right? I agree with that. Don't use your credit to buy a bunch of things for your house, liabilities that you're not going to be able to pay off. I don't agree with that at all. Don't use credit for that. Use credit only in the way that you can pay it back. But in the case of investing or growing a business or Amazon, trying to create return on investment, by all means use credit to grow. By all means use credit to buy a house, just like I've done and tons of our clients have done. And by all means use credit to buy inventory, to grow your Amazon business and get the cash back. It's like a no-brainer. It doesn't make any sense. And in this day and age, I'm surprised that he's even still putting videos out like this. But we're gonna show you guys in the comments below what's going on here. But just so you can see, he's got 822 likes on it, but he's got 644 dislikes on it. And the comments are pretty funny. So we're gonna play some more of it, and then I'll show you guys the comments at the end. If you like this, what we're talking about here, like the video, comment below. Let me know what you're thinking about this stuff that he's saying. It's kind of funny. But let me know what you guys are thinking, and definitely please like the video. It helps us out.
Head taken off by these guys.
I want to lean into what you said about this being in your spirit, because I was a executive officer. I was a nerd in college, no surprise, and with the student government, and a year I was a treasurer. So I ran everything through my private credit card and accumulated the miles, and then I just got a check reimbursement every month. And it worked great. I got these miles over here, or whatever the things were back then, and it was no worse to wear. The school is always going to pay me back. It's when my transmission fell out of my 88 Tercel Easy hatchback, which was a dope car, by the way.
Easy hatchback was a dope car?
It was not. It was awful.
Okay. That was sarcasm.
It was like a big roller skate.
That. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big roller skate.
Pregnant roller skate.
So I had this check for $500. It was supposed to go to pay this thing off.
Uh-oh.
But I'm holding this thing, and I literally need a transmission.
Yeah.
And thus started.
Well, thusly, this is what happens with a pyramid scheme.
That's right. I was floating this one to pay for this one to try to get this one.
Financial Jenga.
And it always comes crashing down.
So the guy's talking about
he
was in college.
Fell out of my 88. Or
right,
whatever the things were back then.
He was in college. He's using his credit card to basically make the payment. Let me just replay it one more time, because it was kind of hard to catch what he was saying.
And accumulated the miles, and then I just got a check reimbursement every.
So he
the miles, and then I just got a check reimbursement.
And gets a check reimbursement from the school, whatever he's got going on, right?
Whatever the things were back then. And it was no worse to wear. The school is always going to pay me back. It's when my transmission fell out of my 88 Tercel Easy hatchback, which was a dope car, by the way.
So, okay, so if he's using his credit card for school-related purpose, and the school's then giving him a check he's then supposed to pay his credit card off with the check, right? Obviously. That has nothing to do with his transmission going out. I like the example, I like the way they bring it up to try to basically say, here's why it's bad to get into debt. Here's why it's bad to use credit cards. That's what he's trying to say. But the truth of the matter is, he was using his credit card, he was getting free cash back, free miles is what he said, and then the school would send him a check to reimburse him, and then he would pay off his credit card. That's great, that's fine. There's no risk involved there. The only situation that caused him a problem was when his transmission went out, instead of him using his own money to fix the transmission, he uses the check that he gets from the school that he's supposed to use. That's a reimbursement check to pay off his credit card, right? That has nothing to do with his income. His income is separate from that. He was just doing that to get the free miles. He even said that. So, I mean, assuming he's got a job and he's making money at the time, he would just use his income to cover the cost of his transmission, right? But that's not what he does. What does he do? He uses the reimbursement check that he's supposed to be using to reimburse himself on his credit card to pay his card off for the money he spent with the school that he's getting free miles on. Instead, he makes a stupid decision, takes that check, and he uses it for his transmission on his pregnant roller skate car, a Tercel, or whatever they just said before in the video. So that was his mistake, right? That has nothing to do with credit being the worst thing in the world. That was an irresponsible thing for him to do, period. It's not that hard to use credit to pay off your bill and to get good payment history and then to get more credit in the future. It's not. It's not a difficult thing. It's not rocket science, but they're bringing these examples up. First, it was the no money down real estate example. Now it's this example. And I gotta say, they're bogus. They're not really relevant to what this kid is asking about with his drop shipping business. And hearing them bring these kind of examples up just to try to discredit using credit cards and using debt, it really does. It just kind of makes me want to just take this bat and just, it's just like, dude, these kids, these people out here could be benefiting from credit, right? From, there's such thing as good debt and bad debt. And these guys are just, completely taking everybody off track with this video. And I wanted to make this one to really try to shed some light on it, because I don't agree at all with what they're saying. And now, there we go. All right, so we'll play the rest of this, and then I'll show you guys the comments at the end. So stick around here.
It was not. It was off. It was
Okay. That was sarcasm.
It was like a big roller skate.
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big roller skate.
Pregnant roller skate. Well, thus,
right.
this is what happens with a pyramid scheme.
That's right. I was floating this one to pay for this one to try to get this one.
Financial Jenga.
And it always comes crashing down.
It's financial Jenga, but I'm the one that can beat it. Thus is the arrogance of youth, or just the arrogance, period. You don't have to be young to be arrogant, but it helps. And
mine caught me years later when I brought a human into the world, right? And it had piled and kicked and moved and punted and shifted, and we could roll it over here.
The debt, not the human.
That's right. That too. But at some point you pay the piper, and usually it just snowballs on you in the opposite direction.
Well, yeah, because you do get, I'll use one of your terms, a psychological term.
Usually it just snowballs and all comes crashing down on you. I mean, honestly, it just seems like this video is like they're like fear-mongering people out of using credit. Tell me what you guys think. Do you hear that at all? Like, it literally sounds like they're just bringing everything and anything up to scare you out of using credit because it'll all come crashing down on you. And it's like, what is the goal here? What is the point of them doing that? This guy said he brought a human into the world and then it all came crashing down because he had debt, right? Like, that's not how it always works. We looked it up earlier. The average household credit card debt is $5,000, right? There's like 191 million people that are using credit cards. And the average credit card holder has at least 2.7 credit cards, right? So that tells you that, like, it's not like every household has $100,000 worth of debt, right? But if you're using it for business purposes, then by all means, rack up a little bit more debt and then pay it off once you get a return on your investment, whether it's real estate, Amazon, whatever it is, whatever your business model is. So if the average household credit card debt is $5,000, then, it doesn't sound like things are out of whack. And also, the default rate, and you can find different numbers if you Google all different areas, but the Federal Reserve puts out a number, And right here, the default rate on credit cards, it says, was 3.28% as of January 2020. So 3% of people are defaulting. Does this sound like a pandemic? Does it sound like something that is like such an emergency that we need to scare people out of using credit? No, 3%. If the percentage is from 1 to 3%, which is what I found online, it doesn't sound like something that you should be so scared of, right? So let's see here. Okay, so serious delinquency rates from beginning of the pandemic. So credit card delinquency rate, 1.25% Q1 2021, and Q1 2020 it was 1.97%. So there's actually improvements in credit card defaults, right? And you can find this, you can Google it. The continued improvements in the economy have led to more loan activity. So credit cards are on the rise, default rates are on the decline. It just makes a lot of sense to use credit right now, and I wouldn't listen to the advice that we're hearing in that video. So let's see if there's anything else that we want to listen to before we wrap this thing up, and then look at the comments.
Yeah. You get used to,
a way of living, a way of doing.
If you hit the curve at 120 instead of 35, you get used to hitting the curve at 120. Then when you hit it at 35, you feel like you're crawling. Like, who would do this? Because everybody knows you can make it at 120 until the tire blows.
That's right.
And then you figure out why the stupid thing had a sign up that said 35, not 120. And when you go rolling over the embankment,
or there's a little bit of rain,
and there's always these variables. And so it's the best way to get rich quick is get rich slow. It's the data proves. That's the best way to do it. Because otherwise you have to do it over and over and over again. I know.
The best way to get rich quick is to get rich slow. Are you kidding me? Come on, Dave. Come on, man. All right, let's see if I can get this thing to work. All right, what did you guys think of that? Please comment below. Let me know what you thought of that. Get rich quick. The only way to get rich quick is to get rich slow. Is that is that how we've gotten to where we're at with this business? We have over 50 employees, right? We've used credit all throughout our growth. We have tons of clients who've gone from doing $40,000 a month to $400,000 a month, from having 10 properties to having 40 properties, just so many examples of this. I literally interview guys like this all the time on our channel, our clients. I interview them about, how they're using the credit in their business. And they tell me that they've literally been able to, one guy told me that he 10x'd his business, Nick Perry. He went from $40,000 a month to $400,000 a month. Because he got access to credit, he's now able to spend more on marketing. He literally 10x'd his revenue, his monthly revenue. Because of credit, because of funding other people's money. Every real estate investor out there is using other people's money. I know a guy who owns over $400 million worth of multifamily real estate because he's been using other people's money. It's just absurd to say that you shouldn't use a credit card and get $2,000 cash back. That's crazy. If you guys agree with Dave on this, please comment below and let me know what you think. If you agree with me, comment below and let me know what you think. Let's see some of the comments on his video real quick. This first one says, I think he should be calling Graham Stephan instead. That's hilarious. Oh man, nobody has ever become a millionaire from cash back. This is stupid. It's not about that. The mindset of taking advantage, it's about the mindset of taking advantage of every opportunity. This guy's making $24,000 a year in cash back, just like what I said. Holly says, ignore Dave on this. You're doing the right thing. Don't overspend. Pay off the balance every month. I've done it for years. I've never paid any fees or interest and used the cash back for myself. I normally like Dave, but this is an anecdotal response to something that is actually working. The kid is clearly clever and he's not floating money he doesn't have. He's just pushing it through a card. And they go on and on. Jason, you keep doing you, man. This was horrible advice. They're giving him $2,000 a month as an incentive to use the card. LOL, not complicated. Why are these people even subscribed to Dave Ramsey? They should be subscribed to me. Look at this. Look at all these comments, though. It's crazy. Like, nobody here seems to like what Dave's saying, so I don't know why they're subscribed to him. You guys need to subscribe to me. If you're not already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like the video. It helps us out with the algorithm as well. No company gives away money for fun. What are they getting from you? Nothing. They're getting it all from the people who do not pay. That's a good point. Pretty much what I was saying too. Dave is wrong. He's playing it right for the business. So as you guys can see, just tons of like people disagreeing with this guy. It's absurd. He's literally putting out videos that are absurd. I'm surprised and I'm kind of disappointed, Dave. I know that you're all about, being smart with your finances and not getting into debt and, that old school way of thinking of just being scared of credit cards. But you don't have to fearmonger this kid into not using a credit card. He's getting $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. Why wouldn't he do that, right? It just doesn't make any sense. After 4 years, that's $100,000, right? Like, that's a lot of money. Why would he not take that? So anyway, we just wanted to make this video to react to the Dave Ramsey brand of don't use credit cards. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. We're gonna do more of these. If you have any videos that you'd like us to do a reaction to, feel free to comment them. 59,000 people viewed this. And some of those people might have been misled and fear-mongered into not using credit. If you guys like the video, like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below, let me know what you guys think. And if you have any other videos that you'd like us to react to, I would love to do it. Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. Until next time, I will see you guys on the next one. And this one's for Dave Ramsey. See you guys on the next one.